back now. He had 27 straight hit records, including his biggest, Pretty Woman. But it all came to an end when Ray Orbison died of a heart attack last night at the age of 52. Orbison's songs told of loneliness and sadness, something that had plagued him much of his life. In 1966, his wife was killed in a motorcycle accident, and shortly afterward, 2 of his 3 young sons were killed when his home burned down. But of late, things have been better.
Well, I was at that concert. It was 1988 in November at Cleveland's famous Front Row Theater. Now, it was out on the east side in the suburbs, and it was at a marvelous concert venue. It's this massive circular theater. The stage was basically a huge turntable. I want to say it was probably 35, 40 feet in diameter, and it was motorized so that it slowly turned. The seating was, again, in the round, so, again, as the name implies, front row theater. Everybody kind of got front row views. You might be back, 10, 15, 20 rows, but you were still sort of dress circle, perhaps. Well, always being a fan, I certainly, when I found that he was coming to Cleveland, I went out and bought 2 tickets for myself and my girlfriend at the time. And it turned out they were front row seats at the front row. So I was right there in the front row. And being a photographer, mostly event photographer, I certainly wanted to get some pictures. But I wouldn't necessarily bring a camera everywhere. But I had just gotten a new lens, and I wanted to test it out. So I loaded this camera. It's a Nikon FM. Should have had black body. It would have been less conspicuous. But anyway, I had a telephoto, and I loaded it with some Tri-X, black and white film, and I put this lens on it. And, well, to sneak it in, because you didn't bring cameras into theaters. We didn't have cell phones, smartphones. I took the body and put the body in one pocket of my winter coat, because it was November, and the lens in another pocket. And, there wasn't really security, as we now know. Anyway, once my date and I got settled in our front row seats at the front row theater, and the lights dimmed. So the lights go down, and I take the body out. I kind of like trying to be, not too noticeable. I attach the lens, and I didn't have to meet her, because, professionals know that the star is well lit. So I think I was shooting at 400. I shot at a 60th at probably f4. And I just brought one roll of film, and I didn't get any pictures. I don't believe I got any pictures of the opening act. Why waste your time? But Roy came out and dressed in all black, as he did. He had an Iron Cross necklace. That was his signature jewelry piece. And, of course, just was pure magic. He had a great band. At that time, he was just starting to perform with the Traveling Wilburys, George Harrison. But anyway, so, I'm kind of being discreet. And I'm snapping off pictures. I shot about 28, maybe 30 pictures.
Hey, it's Ken Dixon with Cleveland Live Music, and I was asked to give a little bit of information about the Front Row Theater. Where'd it go? It used to be right here. Well, like almost 30 years ago, the Front Row used to be right here. And then the powers that be that control the entertainment industry in Cleveland decided, let's shut this place down, and we can develop it and put a Home Depot in here, and we can book the shows downtown in Cleveland. But I don't know, history would probably show that there's less concerts booked in Cleveland now than there were when the Front Row was here. And the Front Row was one of my favorite places to see concerts. I saw so many good concerts here. I used to tape all the concerts and everything, and my best side man was this guy named Glenn Bowditch, and Glenn and I would go to the shows, and he'd smuggle in extra batteries because camcorders that you smuggled in needed batteries and extra tapes, and you had to have a wingman. And Glenn and I realized we were killing rock and roll because we went to a concert here at the front row, not the Home Depot, and it was Roy Orbison. It was his last concert. He looked like he was going to die the entire concert. He could still sing incredibly, but he had that gray, graven look that old people get before they died. And frankly, I think at 64, I'm probably older now than Roy Orbison was when he died. So, you know, I won't be crying anytime soon, you know.
Yes, I was an usher at the Front Row Theater from 1983 to 1993 when they closed, and it was just a very special place. Now, Roy's music I've enjoyed ever since I was very, very young, but I had never had the opportunity to see him live. So when I saw him pop up on the schedule, I immediately marked it on the calendar. I was very excited that I was going to finally get to see the legend in person. So fast forward to December 4th, 1988. It was a Sunday, and looking outside, it was a very rainy, dreary, gray, late fall day, and I guess I was probably feeling a little lazy that day, and earlier in the day, I'd talked myself out of working the show. I just thought, Roy seemed like an artist that would be coming around to the front row again. And I just thought to myself, well, I'll go see him next time. Well, as the day progressed and it got closer to dinner time, I had a change of heart on that and threw on my sport jacket, got in the car, drove to the theater. So the things I remember about the show, the only thing that was a little unfortunate was the theater was only about 2/3 full. So there was between 2,000 and 2,200 people there. But you could tell they were there was a vibe there. There was a lot of love, a lot of adoration, and people were very, very excited to see the legend of Roy. And so his voice was really amazing for his age. He still had it. He sounded great. The band was very tight, and just people were just loving every song. The main thing that really stuck out to me that made this show very special was Roy got 3 standing ovations during the show. Not with the encore, but during the show. Now, I've seen hundreds upon hundreds of concerts, and I've never seen anything like that happen. So it was just that outpouring of love towards him was just incredible.
We're at the Front Row Theater and we're with the legendary Roy Orbison. Roy, how are you doing today?
Doing great. It was a great show. We really had fun.
Is Crying always received with that enthusiastic response? There were 2 standing ovations tonight.
Yeah, it goes over really well. It's one of the highlights of the show, I think.
Mm-hmm. Now, I can see in the audience there's a lot of young people even there that weren't even born, say, when you had your classic hits. How do you feel about something like that?
Oh, it's great. We like a big cross-section in the audience. It's really fun. You look around and see the expression on everybody's faces, and when they show a lot of love, why, then it makes the job a lot easier. It makes it easy to sing.
3 standing ovations gives me cover to take the camera apart and stow it back in my winter coat, and we were gone. And so this was this a Friday night or a Saturday night? Anyway, got home. I don't think I souped the film immediately, but a couple of days later, I awoke to the news that Roy had gone back to his home, I believe somewhere in Tennessee, and died in his sleep. And I said, my God, did he do any other concerts? No. the Cleveland concert at the Front Row was his last show. And I said, oh my goodness, I've got a record of this great performer's last concert. Well, I was very careful. I souped the film, and I got pretty good negatives. I made a contact sheet, as photographers do, and I was kind of impressed. And the lens performed excellently, just a superb, sharp, contrasty. I made a couple of test enlargements. And, in 1988, before the internet, what do you do with it? There was no Rock Hall, there was nothing. I just happened to have this roll of film, negatives that recorded a great rock performer's last concert.
The other thing that sticks out to me that makes the show so special is I feel like Roy taught me a very valuable life lesson, and that is to not procrastinate, to not wait. If there's an artist or something special that I want to do, Roy taught me that tomorrow is just not guaranteed for anybody, so just go and do it. And since that time, I've tried to live my life like that. So if there's something I want to do, somebody I want to see, I go and buy the ticket.
But anyway, so I've had a very interesting life. I don't go to too many concerts. I haven't gone to too many concerts. But I did go to one that I didn't realize would turn out to be a great artist's last one on this physical plane of existence. And I thought I'd share that with the Wandering Curator.
And so now I don't know, it'll take a couple of years to write the story, and probably another year or two for the film. So I'll try to get to that in the new year, what with, all the Wilbury videos and my new album and the tour and all that stuff. So I don't know. I'll start to work on it, I guess.
So this is probably the end here for a while. Then comes the album and the tour and everything.
Yeah, in the new show we'll do the regular show that we do, but in there somewhere will be the entire album. We work that up and play that because it really fits well with everything. I don't think if you'd ever heard any of the songs, you wouldn't be able to tell which was the new from the old, which is really good.